Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Kaz and I'm a channeler and a healer. In today's video we're going to get channeled message on Spirit's advice for reaching and or maintaining your optimal health for you. So I have 3 crystals to choose from today. I have onyx, blue lace agate and hematite. You can go ahead and choose a crystal and the timestamps will be in the description box and also in the video chapters, so you can go straight to your reading. I'll see you there. Crystal 1, welcome to your reading. I'm just going to pick up the crystals so I can channel through it here. I feel for you as a group, you need sleep. Sleep, 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 sleep. So perhaps you're going through a phase in life where you haven't been getting much sleep. Perhaps you're getting a little bit older. Perhaps you're going through a growth spurt. Maybe your kids are teething. Maybe you've got a new baby. You're just not getting enough sleep. Maybe you're in a really busy phase of your life at the moment and sleep hasn't been marked as a priority. And Spirit is saying here that sleep needs to be a priority. I did a reading a few weeks ago and one of the readings was really connected to sleep. So if you've picked that group and you've picked this group again, you really should be taking some note here because it is a priority for you. When we sleep, we detox. So our body naturally cleanses when we go to sleep. So if you're not getting good sleep, your body isn't detoxing. And so things will build up. Things that need to be naturally excreted will build up. So that puts your whole system under pressure, and it's almost like every night your body spring cleans so that it's able to cope with what you put into it the next day. So if you are then tired and not sleeping and drinking copious amounts of caffeine, you're adding more toxins to the burden and so on and so forth. So one of the ways to deal with it is to prioritize sleep. Have a good sleep cycle, make time for it, be really strict, put boundaries in. At this time I go to bed, at this time I wake up, so that you're regulating your body again. You can watch the sunrise and the sunset without glasses on, and that helps reset your sleep cycle. And after doing that for about a week, you really start to feel tired after watching the sunset. And then your body regulates itself so it automatically gets up when the sun rises. That's if you're in a part of the world where the sun does set and it does rise again. Obviously a bit more challenging if you're in a part of the world where that doesn't happen. But that can really help with natural sleep patterns. And there's plenty more out there. Do your own research, because if you have had trouble with sleep, you will know what works for you and what doesn't. I had a friend who was a chronic insomniac for many, many years, and she really tidied up her diet, put strict boundaries around when she eats, which is every 5 to 7 hours, 3 times a day with nothing in between. And that really reset her sleep quality. So there are plenty of things to try. Have a look at what other people did. Sometimes food additives really interrupt sleep. Obviously caffeine does, so you might want to limit your caffeine intake if you do take caffeine. For me, it's food intolerances. If I've had a high amine evening meal or a high salicylate evening meal, I can't sleep. So look at what might be interrupting your sleep and really work on that, because it is so important. And once you start getting regular sleep, you will find that you can function so much better. And you may not realise how poorly you are functioning because your system is just so chronically fatigued. You may want to explore adrenal fatigue and look at what you can support your adrenals with as well. And then things like Epsom salt baths with some lavender essential oil in it, just to help calm you down in the evenings. You may be wired but tired, and you just want to keep going and keep going and keep going, and that's stage 2 adrenal fatigue. So you might like to really investigate that and see what you can do. I would recommend, if that's the case, going and seeing a naturopath, because they can really help with that, with nutrition changes, supplements, and also herbal extracts. Okay, group 1, that's all I have for you there. Concentrate on your sleep and you will feel much better. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you in my next video. Group 2, welcome to your reading. I'm just going to pick up your crystal so I can channel through it. I actually feel that you need some help with reaching or maintaining your optimal health. I feel like you've probably tried a lot of things for yourself, but now you need some professional help. So this doesn't necessarily have to mean a doctor. It might be an acupuncturist, it might be a naturopath, it might be a Reiki master. It can be anything, but I feel like you do need some help. There's only so much you could do yourself, and you may have done a lot of research, and I feel like you think that whatever you've got going on is being contributed by one thing when it's actually being contributed to by something else, or something as well as what you're thinking the primary cause is. Yeah, I feel like alternative health might be a really good option of looking at things. Maybe you've seen quite a few doctors and you're not really getting the answers. They might help something a little bit but not completely, because I feel like there's something underlying whatever is going on. And if you've only been relying on alternative health measures, go and see a doctor. You might need some blood levels done just to have a look at something, because I feel like there's something that's quite obvious to one practitioner or one health professional that can help you. It's very obvious to them and they'll be able to pinpoint it for you straight away, and then you can start working on that. For those of you that feel like you're pretty healthy, I do feel that there is something that can get you to optimal health. Like, you might not be at optimal for you at this point in time, and there's a little adjustment that can be made that will get you to optimal health. For some of you, I'm seeing teeth, so maybe there's something going on with teeth or mouth that just needs to be addressed. And of course, you can look at the more energetic things such as chakra balancing. If you clear your chakras and keep them balanced, you will actually help lessen health ailments or lessen things that affect your health. It won't necessarily solve them altogether, but it will help take the burden off your body. Some of you might have some spinal issues too, or some joint issues, throat chakra issues too. I feel that you may have to have a look at your overall lifestyle. Maybe you're putting way too much energy into something. Maybe you're overworked and you need to have a bit more rest and play than what you're getting. Maybe you're not playful at all and you don't give yourself time to really have some fun. And if that's unbalanced, you're not going to reach your optimal health. So it's time to get out and have some fun. And I'm kind of hearing in my head, but I can't have fun because of this and I can't have fun because of that. And the advice I'm being given here is make it a priority, make it a part of every day. Say for half an hour, I'm going to have fun doing something I really, really love, or getting outside and, going out and running around the block, or playing on the trampoline with my kids, or something where you have some fun, setting up a cricket match in the backyard. Something that is fun and enjoyable, and it doesn't have to be for too much time in the day, especially if you're time poor. Sometimes I think we gravitate towards things that we think are fun, but it's just because we're exhausted and we don't have the energy for anything else. They're actually not that fun for us. So just have a look at that. Is something that you like doing. Maybe it's skipping with a skipping rope, something that's fun for you. And it might even be something you really enjoyed as a child, because that helps bring more balance in as well. Okay, Crystal 2, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed that reading, and I'll see you in my next one. Crystal 3, I'm just going to pick up your crystal and ask Spirit's advice on how to reach and or maintain your optimal health. I'm seeing swimming. Now, I did do a reading, about 4 to 6 weeks ago, where one of the groups was encouraged to swim. So if this is you again, this is another sign from the universe to get out there and start swimming. I feel like your body wants to flex itself in a different way. So if you're used to walking or jogging every day, your body wants you to try something else, but in a more flexible way. So maybe you can add yoga in, or swimming. I'm really being drawn towards swimming. I feel like for you as a group, you are pretty health conscious, but you may just need to shake it up a little bit with more flexibility, or not be so rigid with the way that you exercise. So you might walk or jog a particular route, and Spirit's saying, go somewhere else and, do the same amount of time in the same way, but just experience something different, because you may have set yourself quite strong boundaries and you don't feel you can step out of those boundaries. But they're saying it will do you the world of good to step out of those boundaries. You're not going to lose anything, you're going to gain. So have a little think about in what way you're doing things. Maybe it's a routine you have to do with your health that you might want to adjust slightly or tweak a little bit in some way, that you're doing things a little differently, and that will give you more benefits. Maybe something has worked for you for 3 years. So let's just say you walk every day for an hour, and they're saying, well, go to the beach and walk on the sand for an hour, or go up to the hills and walk in the hills for an hour amongst nature. So it's just something that you don't necessarily have to do every day, but it would be something to add into your routine or to tweak it a little bit. If this is about diet, I feel like there are some changes that can be made. I'm really getting the taste of sugar in my mouth, so you may really, really love sugar. And Spirit's saying that it is actually depleting your energy. So I'm not saying you need to go and start a keto diet. What I'm saying is you might want to look at avoiding things that have refined sugar in them, and just looking at that day-to-day intake of sugar. So maybe you don't realise that tomato sauce that you're putting on your food is really high in sugar, or maybe you don't realise that your salad dressing is really high in sugar. Something where you're intaking more sugar than necessary. Maybe you're having jam on toast, and you could change it for something else like cashew spread or almond butter or something, or avocado on toast, which would give you more sustained energy throughout the day, because I do feel like there is a little bit of energy spikes and dips as well, but it may even be blood sugar that's spiking and dipping here. And you can have blood sugar spikes and dips without being a diabetic, because they can spike and dip within normal range, but over time you are heading towards insulin sensitivity, and at the end of the day it might result in something a little bit more serious. So I feel like there's just a little bit of tweaking to be done in your life. You are quite health conscious, you are very health aware, but I feel like there's just a few areas that need a little bit of a tweak, and you'll gain a lot from just tweaking things a little bit. This isn't a go hard or go home message. This is make a few changes, and then in a couple of months you might just make a few more changes. And yeah, I'm going back to that routine again. So maybe you've done something for 5 years and it's always worked for you, and now it's not working anymore. Maybe something's changed. Maybe you've had a child since then, or maybe you have taken on a more sedentary job, or maybe you've hit menopause, or something's changed. Maybe you gave up that sport that you used to go to twice a week, and they're just saying that the routine that you have needs to be changed a little bit. We evolve as people, we change over time. So what you do now that works for you may not work for you next year. So there's always changes to be made, and getting out of that routine as well, because your body does get used to certain routines. Now, I'm not talking about sleep patterns. That's really important to have good routines with, but other routines, maybe through exercise and diet. Just have a look at that and find new ways. You can do some research and see what other people are doing. You might try something for a month and decide it's not for you. So you try something else for another month and decide that that works for you. I feel a little bit of trial and error here, and know that you're an individual and not everything fits everybody. You may even work in health, because I'm sensing that you do know a lot about health. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to look at what we're doing. Yeah, but sometimes it's hard to see ourselves objectively the way we can with others. So it may be something that you want to take a step back from your own life and have a look at your health routines and see where you can make adjustments, because there's just a little few adjustments to get you to your optimal health, or to maintain your optimal health. Okay, Crystal 3, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in my next video.